Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, just like Jimmy Fallon, we played Super Mario Run for a few seconds. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with ya. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell.
Hey, Patrick. How's it going?
Going well, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing really well.
Really well?
I mean, okay, full disclosure, I was
You gonna pedal that back?
No. I am committed to doing well. But no, last week I was so tired.
Why were you so tired last week?
I don't know. I'm old. I'm an adult. I don't know. I didn't get enough sleep.
No, that's fair.
I can't just bounce back.
We don't start recording these things until after 8 o'clock on Monday.
O'clock.
No, I mean, we're joking a little bit right now, but as soon as I'm done with this recording and you leave, Mark, I don't think you probably don't get to your car and my pants are off and I'm in bed. Like, immediately to bed.
So this week, I'm feeling great.
Yeah.
I think it was because normally I just drive over here and we get into it and I've just come from work or whatever.
Right.
But
we've been hanging out for a little bit now.
Yeah, we've been hanging out for a little bit now. So, I feel re-energized because I had to be on, baby.
With me?
Yeah.
We get each other amped up. It's just so much amped up energy in this room. Weather report. What do you say we skip it?
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to know, just listen to last week's episode because it's about the same.
Right. Copy, paste, dump it right in.
Yeah. I mean, we have
no alterations.
No alterations. We have a lot to get to today.
That's right. First thing that we need to get to, however, is the debug.
Ooh, boy.
Perhaps as a consequence of Mark being too tired last week.
Oh, well, I don't... Sure, yeah, it's all my fault.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Mark was tired, so both of us made a bunch of mistakes last week. So this is the debug section of the show where either you can write in with your corrections for us, or we can just notice our own flaws. We are reflective creatures in that regard. Mark and I had a whole conversation about a bird creature in the trailer for Breath of the Wild. But we were talking about two different bird creatures in two different videos. So, Mark, I think... Oops. I think we need better communication between us, which is crazy because I feel like we are pretty good at talking to each other.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Right. Yeah. We don't listen to each other.
No,
we're very
good
good at speaking to each other.
Very good at opening our mouths and just screaming words at each other from across the table.
Right. Well, the other person just stares wide-eyed, waiting for their chance to speak. So you were describing the bard-esque bird in the Let's Play video I was talking about. There's a warrior-looking bird in the more cinematic trailer.
Oh, okay.
And they both seem cool. Why are there so many birds in this game?
I don't know.
I would call it Bird of the Wild.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. We also talked a little bit about THQ Nordic and about how they are going to be bringing games to the Switch. We talked specifically about Da Blob and Darksiders. THQ Nordic is, I was at the time reaching for some latent memories of what THQ Nordic actually is, and it is not the company that actually developed those games. It is a company that was purchasing the THQ IP. They were just Nordic before this.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, very strange. And I also went in and did a little bit of reading about Quest 64, and I will withdraw my request for a sequel to that game. Another thing, I could not come up with the characters that replaced Banjo and Conker in the Diddy Kong Racing on the DS. It's Tiny Kong and Dixie Kong.
Who's Tiny Kong?
Tiny Kong she's a girl with baggy pants. She's from Donkey Kong 64.
Oh,
that's why you don't remember her.
I mean, I vaguely remember. I'm not a big Donkey Kong 64 fan.
There's Lanky Kong.
He plays basketball.
He might play basketball. He plays the trombone. Remember, they all play musical
Oh,
instruments.
right, of course, yeah.
And there was a mouse character whose name I couldn't remember. I thought her name was maybe Pip. It's Pipsy. So I feel like I'm 90%.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
on that
yeah.
one. Or more accurately, I was 66% right on it.
But I mean, it could just be that you're on like good terms with Pipsy. So
Oh,
you just call
sure.
it, like
Right.
Pip.
We're
yeah.
casual. Yeah.
Yeah, you're casual.
Hey, Pip.
Also, not a specific correction, just like a general overall note. My boyfriend generally doesn't listen to the show that often because he is not really a video game person. But for some reason, of course, this was the show he was listening. Last week's show was the one he was listening to, and even though he doesn't have a ton of context for what we were talking about, I'd be like saying something on the show, like I must have called the Wii U the Wii and vice versa, like over 100 times.
It's the difference of one syllable. It's understandable, is what I'm saying.
And so he would just like on the podcast, I'd be like saying something, and we were in the room together, and he'd just like turn to me in person and be like, "That can't be true," or like, "That's not right," or "That doesn't make sense." And so that's when I realized, oh boy.
Okay, well, so do we need to go back and rename last week's episode Mistake-orama? What was last week's episode called?
Last week's episode.
Oh, that was
called,
elated versus way hype.
Yeah. No, because I think just by our very nature, there will probably be a future show that we can call Mistake-orama.
Okay, great. So we're not changing last week's episode name because it would be inappropriate, but because we're banking that one for the future.
Yeah,
because we know we're gonna need it.
Because it's gold.
Mark, what have you been playing this week?
I played a lot of Super Mario Brothers 3, which is not like new or exciting, but
it's only one of the greatest games ever made.
Right. And the reason I've kept replaying it since I've had the NES Classic Edition is because I want to get good at it again.
Yeah.
And it is remarkable, like the difference between the first time I tried to play through it and this is probably like the third time that I went through it.
So are you using like save states and coming back to it, and
yeah,
or are you just going straight through?
I'm doing like save states.
Okay.
But I've been treating it like I think the original one was where like you can only save after castles and
ships. There was no saving in like the original NES release of Super Mario Brothers 3.
Interesting.
It had no
I must
battery.
be thinking of
in All-Stars you can.
In All-Stars, because I played a lot of All-Stars.
And maybe the Game Boy Advance version, but I don't know.
That's probably, I'm guessing they did, but
sure.
Put that in debug.
Yeah. Maybe this episode is Mistake-orama.
Oh, did we curse ourselves
no.
for every episode to forever be Mistake-orama?
Yeah, Mistake-orama Part 1, Mistake-orama Part 2, Mistake-orama Part 3. This is also our 10th episode spectacular.
It is. 10th episode Mistake Spectacular.
How many mistakes can we cram into 2 hours?
Yeah. But no, so I guess I just made this arbitrary rule then that I'm just going to save after, because when you and I were playing and Sarah were playing through Super Mario Brothers 2, we were using save states a lot.
That's referred to as save scrubbing, right? Save scumming?
I mean, I don't know. I would believe either of those.
I am about to Google video game terms, Mark. And I will tell you what it's called. So, but you're not doing it to like give yourself an advantage or anything.
No,
like
I'm just trying to do it so that way, like if I have to go do something because I am ostensibly still an adult,
right?
I can come
Which is
back
why you're
and just,
tired.
Like, pick it up. Right, exactly. I can just come back and pick it up. Anyways, it is one of the greatest games of all time. But yeah, I've gotten markedly better at it. And you can even tell just in the sense that like the first time I played through it, there were times where I was like scrimping for lives.
Yeah.
You know, where I'd be like down to like 4 or 5 and I'm like, oh, I really have to beat this level here. And like when I got to World 8, I didn't have a ton of items except for like music boxes and stars
and clouds.
And like and this last time I went through, yeah, it's just like that sense of satisfaction at having gotten better at a game is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like that you're able to recapture that same sort of feeling of like practicing and getting better. Just so you know, the Wikipedia glossary of video game terms defines save scumming as the manipulation of game save states to gain an advantage during play or achieve a particular outcome of unpredictable events.
So I guess I'd say that's what we were doing.
That's what we were doing
Yeah.
with Super Mario Brothers 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It is not what I am doing with Super Mario Brothers 3.
That's right. You are being an honorable player.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if honorable player is on this.
But it's a
glossary.
wiki, so you can add it.
We can just add it.
Yeah.
You know, we should pick a video game term at random. This can be a new segment. Like a vocabulary lesson.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Because as we've said many times,
Mhm.
we are fans but not experts.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think even experts, this article is intimidating and huge. And here are alphabetically, here are some of the terms that begin with the letter N. Nerf. You and I both know nerf means to like bring down the power level of some character or weapon or something to make it more balanced, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of a derogatory term, meaning that like maybe they did it unfairly, or usually the community is against a nerfing of something. But like my mom wouldn't know that, and I think normal people would be like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean nerf?" So nerf. New Game Plus, newbie, no clip mode, noob, non-player character.
I like how there's newbie and noob.
Yeah, well, yeah, yes. Also, I believe noob is spelled wrong here. Noob should be 2 zeros, right? N00B.
Yeah, or that's how I imagine it when I'm saying it.
Mark, have you been playing anything else this week?
No. How about you, Patrick?
I've been playing. I played Sun and Moon.
Mhm.
I went up to Big Bear this weekend
Mm-hmm.
with a bunch of friends and brought the 3DS and the NES Classic. And the NES Classic was on a lot. Kirby's Adventure and Dr. Mario got the most play. And Dr. Mario got the most play because Sarah was with me.
I was gonna say, like, I refuse to believe that everybody loves Dr. Mario as much as, like, I feel like the common denominator in all these stories is you and Sarah.
Right. Well, I don't know that I played any Dr. Mario. Sarah played it a lot this weekend. But yeah, Kirby's Adventure got a lot of play. We were with a dog named Kirby, so perhaps that is why. Kirby, this is Kirby's first shout out on the podcast. Yo, Kirby, what up, girl? And then yeah, I said Pokemon, right? Just kind of continuing the grind there. Have you backed off of Pokemon some?
Only because I haven't really had the time
Yeah.
to play recently. I am looking forward to the like Christmas slowdown
Yeah.
type stuff.
How's
And we'll do-
your sexy owl doing?
Great.
Mhm.
I unlocked the like mini game / island you can go to where you collect a lot of Pokebeans,
Yeah.
and so that has increased everybody's happiness because I don't have to be stingy anymore. I can just feed them as much as possible.
Yeah,
So everybody in my party is full, whereas before I had to be like, I had to be, like
You had to ration out.
I
the
had to
food?
ration out like Oregon Trail, like, be like, no, I am just giving them to my beautiful owl and my beautiful Pikachu because they are the only ones I care about their happiness.
Let me ask you this, because I'm also still rocking the Pikachu, though I have a Thunderstone to
Mhm.
evolve him to Raichu. It's a severe step down in cuteness.
Yeah.
Is there a reason that I should be evolving it, or should I just be happy with what it's not a grass is greener situation, right? I can just leave the Pikachu as Pikachu.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I would.
Then how do I get the Raichu in my Pokedex?
I guess that's what trading is for.
Sure.
Or you could catch another
a
Pichu.
dummy Pikachu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
A crappy Pikachu. Mark, we have got us a news week, so let's head into the news. We have so much news this week that we believe the entire episode will be news,
Yeah.
right? That's what we're declaring that now. So this is the beginning of the news and the topic of the week. Mark, it is
News on the march.
all right. News on the march.
All right. Well, to kick us off, Super Mario Run
Yes.
is coming out on iOS devices on Thursday, January 15th. It is free to start, $9.99 for the full game. And a 4-level playable demo is now available at Apple stores.
So it should be noted that is Apple stores and not app stores. You cannot go to the App Store and download the demo of this thing until the game is out. But yes, go into an Apple store and you can play Super Mario Run.
Yeah, and Patrick and I, just before we recorded this,
Mhm.
went over to our local Apple store.
Right? We went to the Glendale Galleria,
And we could have gone to the Americana,
but we didn't.
and we didn't.
It's nice to have options.
Yeah.
And so we played. How long were we in the store? How long do you think we were playing?
I can't imagine that long.
Like 2 or 3 hours?
I mean, I think we were there for maybe 15 minutes.
That sounds right.
So it seems like it's on pretty much any iOS device they have in the Apple store.
There was one phone we picked up that did not seem to have it.
Right.
The first phone
The
that
first
we went
phone
to.
we picked it up. But it seemed to be everywhere else. And I think it was supposed to be on the phone. It was not on. But yeah, it's the first 3 levels.
Yep.
Of
In their entirety.
in their entirety, and then you get 20 seconds in the castle.
Which, guess what? It's not enough time
No.
to get anywhere in that castle.
What'd you think, Patrick?
I liked it. I found the first level, my first time through, to be much more challenging than I thought it was going to be. Not that I was dying or anything, but that the game is about it's a score rush game, and it's hard to at least initially get all the coins and get all the pink coins or purple coins or whatever they are. Yeah. Well, what's your first impression of it, Mark?
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, you got a little bit of that sass going on. I can see it. You'll be like,
who, me?
thought it was fun.
Sorry about my sass. No, I thought it was okay. I will admit that it lowered my excitement level just a little bit after playing through it. And but it's not bad.
Sure.
It just wasn't, I didn't feel like it was amazing.
See, I was genuinely having fun while I was doing it, which maybe that's a low bar for a game, is am I having fun or not? But I don't know that. I feel like most iPhone games that I play, not that I even really play any, but aren't don't try to entertain me. They just try to make my time go away.
Yeah, and I think the difference between Super Mario Run and just a regular Super Mario Brothers game is that even new Super Mario Brothers, you sit down and it's satisfying to play in long gaming sessions.
Sure.
You play it more, and as you get better at it, you're like, oh, cool, I'm just gonna keep going. Whereas this feels very much, and in a lot of ways that's probably to its benefit, but it feels very much like, oh, I'm just going to pull this out and play a quick level.
It's more arcadey in that way.
Yeah, so it doesn't, the mechanics, it doesn't, at least in these early levels, it doesn't feel as satisfying as a full Super Mario game. But as a mobile game, I think it does the trick where you're just I'm waiting for something, or I'm just gonna pull out my phone for a second, run through this level, and then I'm gonna go off and do something else, instead of the more traditional Mario gameplay.
Right. That it's not there's not a physical space really to explore.
Yeah.
At all. Yeah, I don't know. I think that I think I might be more excited about it having just played it because I went back to the first level after doing everything, and when I say doing everything, I just mean getting through all the other levels, and I actually collected all of the pink coins in level 1-1, which then opens up another set of coins in a different space. So it's like seeing the same level again, but with just like a slightly different context, and it looks like there's even another set of coins beyond those. Like it's hard to say really how much there is in this thing. But if there's, I like the idea of going back in and having to, with the same set of tools in a level, get like achieve a different outcome, get coins in different places. So like in that way, I think it could be fun to like spend some real time like going back through the levels, even after you've already cleared them out.
Well, I agree, because even though the mechanic is simplistic, it does reward, like, as you get better at it, you will be able to do more stuff. Like, it really is one of those things that it's easy to get through the levels.
Oh, yeah.
Like, anybody can get through the levels, but in order to collect like all the coins or kill all of the enemies is going to take multiple times through it.
Yeah.
So again, in that way, I think it is like the perfect mobile game.
There are also a bunch of game modes that we've only seen like little bits and pieces of, and it'll be interesting to see how all of that really plays out.
Yeah, and I'm
in the
sure
final
that
build.
the mechanics will become, even if the actual like push the button to jump type thing doesn't change, the level design I'm sure will get more interesting and complex. Because we're basically
we're
talking
playing
about like
1-1.
level 1-1, which is just like and you can see all of the levels in the game and some of their like names and mechanics. And there's ghost houses, and there are the like ships. So there's a bunch of different ways that this very simple jump mechanic is going to be used.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just trying to look up to see if 1-1 was a in this glossary, and it is not. 1-1.
I'm telling you, it's a wiki, so all we can.
So we're gonna change it.
All these things can be added, and then somebody can angrily, who like curates it, can angrily come in and.
I've never heard that before. Citation needed.
So yeah, like obviously I'm going to be picking it up at $10. It seems like a no-brainer for me personally. I am coming away from it maybe not less excited, just more having a better understanding of what the game actually is.
Sure.
I think it would. Well, I was going to say I think it'd be beneficial for them to release this demo not just in Apple stores, but it's going to be free.
I mean, the same, what we played in the Apple Store, I believe, is going to be the exact same thing that's free for people to download on Thursday. So
I got a text message from my friend who was at an Apple Store getting his phone repaired, and so he tried it out, and he was not a fan.
Oh, yeah.
He just felt like it controlled weird and was kind of slow. He's not a video gamer.
Sure.
And so it went from a must buy to a not going to buy for him. And I do agree that the I wouldn't say it controls slow, but it does control a little interesting.
I think it's different because it took me a second too to like, I don't think we tap phones the same way we tap buttons. So like when I'm much more comfortable holding the jump button for a longer time on a controller than on a phone. Like that's just not how I think about controlling things on the surface of a touch screen. So I don't know if that has something to do with it.
Well,
or...
and also for me, I felt like when you're jumping on multiple enemies, it seems like Mario, like when you get to a third enemy, there are multiple times where it seems like Mario shouldn't be able to land on him, land on like the third Koopa Troopa or Goomba, because he has too much momentum.
Yeah.
But for some reason, he lands on him anyways.
Well,
and so and so I think I just have to get used to the physics of that, because I didn't think he was going to land on the third one. I didn't push the button to get like the boost,
right,
the jump off of him. And so I think it's just going to be like getting used to those sorts of mechanics.
Right, which looks so much like mechanics that you've been using forever, and they're actually like a little bit different.
Yeah.
Just like, because Mario will, if he's running at a Goomba and you don't push anything, he vaults over it.
Right.
So like, Yeah, that like all of that sort of messes with like that's not my expectation of Mario. But I don't know. It seems cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not excited.
Okay, great. I'll be excited about it.
The other thing that I feel like that fits our brand.
Yeah, of course. for me to be excited and for you
And
not
me
to
to be like, we'll see.
earn my excitement. I'm sorry, that's a totally valid thing for you to want.
No, that's what I sound like. No, and another thing that I'm like, oh, that's interesting is that Super Mario Run, it came out that Super Mario Run requires an internet connection at all times in order to play. And this is a little bit of a bummer.
Yeah, yes. I think it's actually kind of a huge bummer. Planes.
Yeah, I mean, planes, if on this like a subway or train.
Trains and automobiles. Yes.
Yeah, like
But not automobiles.
well, no, even automobiles, because the days of unlimited data
Yeah,
are
that's true.
far gone. And the rumor, I think, was that it was like 64 megabits an hour or like 32 megabytes of data an hour. That's a lot.
Yeah,
for like for a game that doesn't really seem to need it,
Right,
other
like,
than for piracy reasons.
All it's doing is like checking your license at the Apple Store.
Yeah, and I mean, and they are upfront about it, but you know, they're saying like, yeah, we are doing this for piracy reasons, and it goes back to them kind of their hesitation with mobile in the beginning. You know, it's like devaluing their IP, and there's a reason why it's launching on iOS first versus Android, where
because the Apple Store is a much more controlled environment.
yeah, I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but way more than side-loading apps on Android. And so Android will be coming next year, but and also they have the marketing might of Nintendo behind them, but or of Apple behind them. But yeah, just that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
That like you can't play this without data.
Yeah. Yeah, that bums me out too. Especially because, like, wouldn't it be nice to, like, download it on an old phone and, like, give it to a kid or something? Like that'd be so good. But no, it's always got to be. And I suppose if it can be on Wi-Fi. I don't know. I'm still, like, the idea of having this, like, a cool, Miyamoto designed Mario game in your pocket at all times, whether you thought to grab your 3DS before you left the house or not, is so appealing. And they'd be like, oh, well, also as long as you're not getting on a plane or going underground or driving out into the middle of the desert to bury a body because, someone saw something they weren't supposed to see, and then you got to get rid of the evidence.
All of these scenarios.
Yes, all of these scenarios
will apply to somebody.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. I understand where they're coming from. But like again,
you sound more sympathetic in this one than I do. I'm not. I'm a little bit angry about this one even.
Yeah, I mean, I think I am too. It just feels, it's just such a bummer.
Yeah. So we're saying bummer a lot too. So mistake
because we're radical.
Or bummer.
Yeah.
Maybe it's bummerama. So on the subject of Super Mario Run, Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé appeared on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon to show off both Super Mario Run and maybe not surprise, the Nintendo Switch. So Mark, did you watch this thing?
Yeah, I didn't watch it live, but I watched the YouTube.
Yeah, you were texting me about it that night.
Yeah.
I had already gone to bed because as previously mentioned, I am old. But I did watch it first thing the next morning when I woke up at 5:30. It sounded so mad when I said 5:30 just now, and I didn't mean it. So Jimmy played Super Mario Run, impressing Mr. Miyamoto with his performance, or so he was doing fine. I guess on live TV, like that's tough.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When you played World 1-2, did you do better than Jimmy did?
No, I actually think I didn't get as many pink coins the first time I went through.
Other stuff that happened during this demonstration. Reggie demonstrated Breath of the Wild on the Switch. First playing it on the TV essentially, and then removing the Switch from the dock and handing it to Jimmy. who was then just excited to play Breath of the Wild on the Switch, and also was just like geeking out the whole time. It was pretty cute. I don't like Fallon, but he seems sincere.
Yeah, put him in the Game Awards column.
Let's unpack that. Put him in the Game Awards column because
we don't really like him.
we don't really like him.
Yeah, what I
don't know. I assume maybe there were more commonalities.
No, I'm interested in hearing. Yeah.
It's just so funny that like he's got a Switch in his hand and he's like, oh, I gotta show everyone the kickstand. I'm like, what?
But
what are you doing?
Of course, what I loved was and I'm glad it happened, but like the internet was like on it, right? Because this was like really the first in the wild look we've had at the Switch.
Yeah.
And so they were like, I think that's a USB-C port.
Yes.
And I think it is too. Like, like they were like,
they were like, oh, there are release
CSIing
buttons.
it.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, oh, enhance, zoom in. Yeah, I think to me, two things about this.
Mm-hmm.
One is how on message Nintendo is about the Switch.
Yeah.
Where again, the main feature that they showed off was
switching between the TV and the portable.
Yeah, like that is thus far the major marketing message, and they haven't strayed from it.
It's arguably the only marketing message at this point.
Yeah.
We still don't know, we can assume, but we still don't know that this thing has a touch screen.
Right.
Crazy.
And the other thing is that it feels like Nintendo's kind of having a moment. 2016 has been a rough year for Nintendo.
Sure, and the world.
Yeah, but specifically for the scope of our podcast.
Oh, okay, sure.
Nintendo. But I guess it's kind of been like a transition year, and it feels like 2017
is the payoff.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Like they've gone through a lot of pain in order to reach this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you could even argue that last year was outside of Super Mario Maker. I can't really think of what like big, and I guess Splatoon was also last year.
Yeah,
but like Smash was the year before. So like I feel like we've been in a either straight up Nintendo drought or a relative Nintendo drought for the last 2 years. So yeah, let's see some of that payoff.
Yeah, because there's a lot of there. Even though Nintendo wasn't directly involved with Pokemon Go, it was definitely the beneficiary of the buzz around it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that has fed into a lot of excitement for Pokemon Sun and Moon,
which is selling really, really well.
Yeah, and then that seems to have fed into excitement for like Super Mario Run, which seems to be feeding excitement. Like it's just like
for the
general
Switch.
excitement for Nintendo seems to be at the highest it's been in years.
Right.
And I don't think
plus this podcast started.
Right.
So we're drumming up more excitement.
Yeah, I mean, this is our 10th episode spectacular.
And it is so far
spectacular.
We had an extra music cue and everything.
Which is not impressive to anybody who doesn't see you like working the keyboard to get everything in order.
I don't know if it's clear, but I produce the show while we're hosting it and just do it live. So I am often in a cold sweat in transitions from one section to the next.
But yeah, so it's not luck. I really don't think it's just like luck that it's like, oh, and people are talking about Nintendo again. It has been a concerted effort that I think is now going to begin to pay off, as long as they don't really mess it up come Switch launch.
Right.
And I forgot to mention the NES.
The classic. Yeah, there are too many like big things.
We were talking about earlier how new 3DSs are of any kind are just impossible to get in LA.
Yeah, be they XL
anywhere.
or otherwise. Yeah, like if you try to get them online, they're going for almost 200% of retail value, which is crazy. That's come on, man. What's going on? They're having a moment. But Beck, we've steered us too far away from the news item, I think.
From Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
Well, basically, that's what I thought was
Yes.
like coolest about it, was to see all of this happen, where it's like Nintendo's on here not just talk about Super Mario Run, but also to talk this like product that hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah. And also just to like kind of rest in Nintendo is cool. Like you can Mr. Miyamoto sat in with the Roots and played the Super Mario Brothers theme on an acoustic guitar. Like, there's no point to that other than just like Jimmy loves Nintendo and like let's all love Nintendo together. And it was adorable.
And I think that's like a great just like point about Nintendo in general is people love Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo just has to give them a reason to be excited about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it feels like right now we have a reason to be excited about it.
Yes.
And that feels like a big change, like you said, from like the past 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just been a lot of like fretting
Right.
and like,
oh,
yeah.
oh, Nintendo. So Mr. Miyamoto was on the show with Reggie. He didn't really do much other than
He was
I
in
guess,
the
play
audience,
Yeah, he was
yeah.
in the audience. And he was accompanied by Bill Trinan, the senior product marketing manager for Nintendo of America, who was dropping hints on Twitter that Mr. Miyamoto's shirt contained some clues of some kind. And the shirt is basically it's Mario in like a samurai getup. And the kanji on it said we think it said ran or
Yeah.
run.
Well, I think it's like ran, and then which is pronounced or has the meaning in Japanese of run.
Okay.
So it's just like, I think his shirt was just a celebration of Super Mario Run.
Right, but then why the samurai outfit?
Well, I don't know the culture, like I don't know the cultural connotation of like ran, but
Mhm.
I do know that there is a Akira Kurosawa film called that, which
Right.
involves war between samurais.
So Samurai Mario game. Switch launch title?
Yeah, lock it down.
Great. Let's talk about some other Switch rumors, unless you had anything else you wanted to add about the Tonight Show.
No.
Okay, great. So multiple sources are reporting the existence of GameCube games running on the Nintendo Switch. 3 games have already been prepared: Super Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, and Super Smash Bros. Melee. All 3 of which, by the way, we've talked about as like games we want to play. But
Yeah, we talked
can't.
about last week how you've never played Sunshine, and I wish it was available.
Right. And then further to that, Animal Crossing has also been said to be in the testing phase. There's no official word that any of these games will actually be released. But if they're setting them up, I mean, what a great time to be alive.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for GameCube games to be on the Virtual Console in
Mhm.
whatever form it may take.
Yeah, or eShop, or however that's going to be branded
Yeah,
going forward.
because I guess the Wii games.
Yeah, the Wii games as they appear on the Wii U are not technically Virtual Console. They're just Wii games available on the eShop. So, yeah, I mean, it's Virtual Console is a weirdly dated term, and like props to Nintendo for naming that, right? Like, because when that came out, there weren't comparable things, but there are now, and eShop makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, you might as well just throw everything into one store instead of like segregating them.
Yeah.
I
will I'll download and play Super Mario Sunshine at the first available opportunity.
Do you know, does the GameCube Animal Crossing have like all the NES games, or was that like the 64 version?
Oh, that is an interesting question. I don't know, Mark. I think it's the GameCube version.
I think they are in the GameCube, and so I wonder if that like aspect of it would be in there as well.
So, give a little context here.
Just that in Animal Crossing earlier games,
Mhm.
I think the GameCube one is included. It was not on the DS version or anything that
Right.
I've played. There's like arcade cabinets that you can acquire just like any other like furniture item, is my understanding. And in those arcade cabinets are certain NES games like Metroid or Donkey Kong, and they're not just like the first level or demos, they were the full games
Right.
that were like playable in Animal Crossing.
Oh man, that would be kind of dangerous if,
I mean, it'd be cool.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. I think that's true for the GameCube version, but I can't remember. I have never played it. But I would definitely be picking it up if that were the case.
Oh yeah, no kidding. In a heartbeat.
So another week and another great Switch rumor from Laura Kate Dale. This week she's saying that From Software has Dark Souls 3 running on Switch hardware, quote, at a level of performance they are happy with, and are considering a re-release of the 3 Dark Souls games, including all like the DLC and everything.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, From Software was on the list of developers
That was supporting.
the Switch.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we know that they are working on something. This would be great. I mean, Dark Souls. I've played Bloodborne
Right.
on the PlayStation 4, and Dark Souls is like their From Software's like fantasy, one of those like incredibly difficult
Mhm.
like third-person combat games.
Well, Bloodborne, right, like really just came about because Sony wanted like to have their own.
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of
it's a
those and
Sony
said,
exclusive.
From make it
Mm-hmm.
right, but the Dark Souls is kind of like the OG.
Yeah, I guess there was a game before that called Demon's Souls.
Demon's Souls.
Demon's Souls, and there
Right.
was one of those, and that's owned by that IP's like owned by like Bandai Namco,
Yeah,
or something like
someone
that.
like that.
and then they made Dark Souls, and then they also have Bloodborne. This would be great. I don't know entirely how it would work. Part of the Bloodborne and like Dark Souls, the whole thing is that you're always connected online, so
Mhm.
somebody can invade your game at any moment. I don't know how that would work with Switch.
I mean, maybe it always needs to be online.
Yeah, I guess
you know,
that's
that
true.
you just can't take it out of the house.
Yeah, it just that seems to defeat the purpose of the Switch.
Yeah, I mean, I play so much Wii U just on the gamepad tablet, even though the TV's right in front of me. Just because like there's something about having the screen right in front of my face that sometimes that feels good. And I imagine I'll do the same with the Switch too.
Oh yeah, I think I will probably use it primarily. I mean, personally, I don't think I will be taking it to a park and playing the Switch.
You're not gonna take your dog there in the middle of the night / first thing in the morning when the sun is
yeah.
rising.
As I've just pulled an all-nighter playing Breath of the Wild.
That's right.
Well, that actually might happen.
Yeah.
But no, I imagine I will be taking it. Yeah, I'll be taking it on like planes, but a lot of planes have Wi-Fi.
Right.
Now, I will be taking it to friends' homes. Most of my friends have Wi-Fi. You know, like,
And they give you the password.
and they
so-
give you the password. I have kind friends. But yeah, just like stuff like that. But all these, who cares? I would take Dark Souls 3. Again, the main selling point of any game on Switch is the portability.
Absolutely.
So, like, what does this have over the PlayStation 4 release of Dark Souls 3? It's portable.
It's portable, right?
Yeah.
So they have to find a workaround for the being able to invade other people's games. that way.
The other part of this rumor is that From Software is considering it, but they haven't like gone ahead and done it. They're kind of waiting to see what adoption of the Switch is like.
Sure.
I can't imagine that it'll be possible to find a Switch in stores until the holidays. Like, I think they're going to be difficult to come by. I think Nintendo's going to sell
Based on what?
just
History?
just
Recent
like
history?
no, just like general excitement.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they probably aren't going to, it's not going to be like a PlayStation 4 Pro situation where you walk into a Best Buy and get like swallowed up in the sea of, you know, like consoles.
Right.
I think it's going to be more like a Wii or Nintendo DS Lite or NES Classic Edition, and because this isn't even like old hardware, right? This is like their brand new, seemingly fairly cutting edge, even for to put all of this power into. So I think they're going to basically be selling whatever they can make.
Yeah.
So, which is another reason why it makes sense for like Pokemon Stars or whatever to be coming out, to be saving a game for the holidays.
For the holidays, yeah.
Because Nintendo doesn't really have to. I don't think they have to worry about the launch period. I think they're going to sell whatever they can make.
I think that's right. Also, like, just a heads up to like anyone, like, you're going to be contending with the other maniacs that are going to the Target 2 hours before it opens. You're going to be going up against me.
I'm really hoping we can pre-order this thing.
I don't know, man. I get like that. I assume that we're not going to be able to.
Well, and even if pre-orders are available, it doesn't mean that we'll be able to get one.
Right, because
You
you'll
know.
have to be like sitting at your computer when like pre-orders are now available.
Right.
You know, to just do it. Also, it's every man for himself. You don't help me, I don't help you. Got it? All right, we're going to actually take a little bit of a break from the news because there's just so much news. So we're going to just move out of the news for a second. Now it is time for a regular segment. It's 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of our show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. For the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not Nintendo related, and thus fulfilling the contract of 433. I'm starting the performance now. Mark, let's talk about Christmas music.
Let's talk about Christmas music.
Do you like Christmas music?
Yeah, I have my go-tos that I
Okay.
like have in rotation. I
Mhm.
would say that in general, like I don't just turn on the radio.
Oh
Because I think there's
that's
way
a recipe for disaster.
There's way more bad Christmas music
Mhm.
than there is good Christmas, and not like enjoyably bad, just
like
bad.
Mannheim Steamroller, enjoyably bad.
Or like those country songs that seem the story ones that seem to come out, around Christmas, where
Yeah,
it's like
okay, yeah,
there's
sure.
like a lone trucker,
Christmas
and-
shoes.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
yeah. There's like a lone trucker, and he's on the highway, and it's snowing, and then like on the CV radio, like a little boy comes on, is like, I just
Santa,
want my
are you there?
yeah, and
Right.
like I just I just want a teddy bear for Christmas, and the trucker, like, I don't know, like wife and kids died in a rollover car accident, and so he's like touched by like one of those.
Right. And then he's got to drive out in the middle of the desert to bury a body because someone saw something they weren't supposed to see.
So yeah, I have my go-tos.
Are you a fan of like the classic Christmas carols, or do you like those not quite as evergreen, like the pop songs that?
No, I can't do most of the pop songs.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly just like I listen to the ones I grew up with
Yeah.
for the most part. This is the first year that I've discovered Phil Spector's Christmas album.
I've heard good things about Phil Spector's
It's
Christmas
pretty
album.
great. The last track is a little funny because like Phil Spector gets on, he's like, "Hi, I'm Phil Spector," and you're like, "Aren't you a murderer?"
Yes, but let's enjoy the Christmas spirit together.
So that one's been in heavy rotation. What about?
Aren't you a murderer? I listened to the Amy Mann's Christmas record, One More Drifter in the Snow, which is like half original music and half Amy doing like old pop standards. And I love the discs upon discs of Sufjan Stevens' Christmas record. His song "Sister Winter" I think is one of the best songs he's ever recorded, and it's one of his Christmas songs. I will put those on unseasonably early, like early November. I'll start putting the Sufjan Stevens Christmas records on. Otherwise, after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm
For
the
me.
same way. I have an early December birthday, and so the general rule of thumb is like not until after my birthday.
That's a good rule.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey,
You can adopt it if you
you're
want.
welcome. I'm not
not until
not until August 24th.
No, my birthday.
Oh,
You
I
can
see,
use
I
my
see.
you can use my birthday as the marker.
I just assumed that no matter what I was borrowing was quote not until my birthday unquote.
I mean, you can do that too.
I don't like it. Makes the season too wide.
Least favorite Christmas song.
Oh, geez.
Go from the gut.
well, okay.
First one that comes from.
Santa Baby then.
Oh yeah, what is it with Christmas songs and trying to make Santa sexy?
I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
Gross. Shut it down.
Santa Baby.
Absolutely not.
Are there other examples?
I just feel
Those
like
two are too many.
those two are too many. I feel like in general, there's like, there's this sense of like, oh, but then there's also at work on one of the TVs was Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And in it, there's like this like sexy who that you're like, oh, like, yeah, it's very unappealing. I just in general don't feel like Santa and sex should be nowhere near each other.
I will agree with you 100% on that. Santa and sex, never the twain shall meet. I like Santa. I like sex. I don't need them together.
There's also a remarkable number of Christmas songs about like terrible relationships.
Like Baby It's Cold Outside.
Yeah, and like Wham's like Last Christmas I Gave You My,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
And then what's the awful, not about relationships, but possibly my least favorite Christmas song of all time is Paul McCartney's Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bad song. I people get worked up about Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time, and I feel like it's just as bad as all the other bad Christmas songs. Do you know what I mean?
I think that what makes it worse for me is that it is like it's an earworm. Like
Sure.
it's like catchy.
Like you're fighting singing it right now.
Yeah,
aren't you?
exactly.
Let's just wait while the listener sings it to themselves.
And how blessed you must be
Mm-hmm.
to have sit in that moment in silence because for some reason you have avoided that song your entire life.
Oh, you mean if someone doesn't know it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a mighty fine existence. I know people also rag on the John Lennon War is Over.
Boo to that song.
I think it's a good song. Lyrically, it's trite. Oh, and that is the... We'll never find out the rest of how we feel about that song. We were accompanied today by the Brussels Chamber Choir, which feels Christmas appropriate. Mark, let's get back into the news. And again, there's a bunch of news here, so it's really...
News on the march.
I like how it cuts out just like a fraction of a second too early.
Yeah. Please don't send that to us for debugging.
Oh yeah, no, we know that's a feature.
Yeah.
But if you do have something that you'd like to debug, I don't know if we've said this yet.
Oh no, we haven't.
You can send any of your emails, any of them, any email to us. You can send
Preferably, you'll be sending relevant ones. But really, you could send any of them
any emails to Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com. Metroid Other M. Oof. Metroid Other M for the Wii is now available on the Wii U eShop.
Not Virtual Console.
Not Virtual Console. See, there you go. $19.99.
So I've never played this game, Mark.
I have. I played it when it came out. I think I was doing... What's the game equivalent of Netflix?
Gamefly.
Gamefly. Does that still exist?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I did. I Gameflyed it. I had a subscription at the time, and I don't hate it as much as other people do.
Mm-hmm.
I agree that the story is told very terribly,
Mm-hmm.
and it controls awkwardly because anytime you want to like shoot a rocket, it becomes first person. You use the Wii
the remote at
pointer,
the screen.
and there's a couple of pixel hunting sections
Mm-hmm.
that are like legitimately terrible. But the side-scrolling stuff, I don't hate as much as other people do. I don't think it's a great Metroid game,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it's an awful game.
See, I feel like I need to play it just because it is the only Metroid blind spot that I have. Also, just so you know, the Wikipedia glossary of video game terms defines pixel hunting as a game element that involves searching an entire scene for a single, often pixel-sized point of interactivity. Common in adventure games, most players consider Hunt the Pixel puzzles to be a tedious chore, born of inadequate game design.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
that sums it up. Although for $20, I you should play it. We should play it together.
We should, and then like have a full conversation about it.
Yeah.
Is what we should do. Also bring on someone to talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll do all of this.
We'll force somebody to play it with us. Because at least originally, I'm guessing they haven't fixed it for the eShop release, but you could not skip the cutscenes.
Oh, no.
And it's not just that these cutscenes were bad because they were bad, but in general, please give me the option to skip cutscenes because
Skip all cutscenes,
Yeah,
please.
like 99% of the time, I do not want to watch your cutscenes.
Yeah, well, and like, what if you're playing it for a second time?
I think after you play it the first time, my memory is fuzzy on this. I feel like after you like complete it, if you play it again, you are able to skip the cutscenes.
Oh, once
that
you've
point.
earned the right to skip the cutscenes?
I believe so. But there is so much story in this game that I can totally see them being like, no, the story's important, so you have to watch it. Otherwise, you won't understand what you're pixel hunting for.
All right. Well, we will get back to this game some other time in real depth. We're gonna play it and hate it together. It'll be great. Koji Kondo's score for The Legend of Zelda: The Ocarina of Time has been recorded by a 64-piece orchestra and is getting a vinyl release from I Am 8-Bit. You can order the 2 EP set on I Am 8-Bit for $40. The digital download version of it will be available in Q1 with the vinyl coming out a few months later. No specific dates on those yet. The music is arranged and composed by Eric Buchholz. Buchholz? Who knows? He toured with the Legend of Zelda Symphony, the 25th Anniversary Symphony Orchestra, and is conducting on the soundtrack disc that came with Skyward Sword. So it'll be that level of arrangement for all of those classic tunes.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and it looks neat. It's a good looking package. So if there's no specific reason to be celebrating Ocarina right now, but it's a good game.
Well, I think just in general, not even Nintendo related, something interesting that's happened is this kind of resurgence of nice releases
Yes.
of classic video game soundtracks. Like there was one I think recently for Turrican, the like TurboGrafx 16 game.
Oh, interesting.
And because I think it was maybe it was Amiga. I'm not sure. It was it's not Nintendo.
You can write into Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com
with any of your corrections and debuggery.
But yeah, I think it's cool. I don't know if it's because printing on demand has become more viable
more
and affordable.
Mm-hmm.
Because I can't imagine that any of these sell enormous amounts.
Right. I mean, other than like a Zelda one, which probably could sell pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But if you had to ballpark it like $1 million, that seems like way too many.
Yeah, that seems like way too many.
Like 200,000.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially when so much of the market for these things would be for Japan, and they're not big on like just having stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that, especially like something for like Ocarina is like the soundtrack for Ocarina would specifically be for Japan. I think the Symphony of the Goddess like touring show is still going, and that's been years, and I think it's primarily
It's like Cats.
now and forever.
Yeah.
Do you know they brought Cats back?
What?
Yeah, it's playing on Broadway right now. Sidebar.
Right. No, I'm there with you.
So they brought Cats back, right? And immediately you're like, oh, they're gonna like deconstruct it or reinvent it or something, right? No,
you do it as straight face as possible. You do it like Lady Gaga singing The Sound of Music at the Academy Awards. You just do it.
Yeah,
you don't make it weird. You just do it.
I guess. I mean, I guess Cats is weird enough.
Did they do a reorchestration of it? Because Cats sounds terrible.
I think it's the people that love cats, and they don't want you to touch it because the costumes are the same. The sets, it's like
I get all of that though. Like that, those are the like campy and in such a specific way, and the music just sounds like so limited and gross.
I 100% agree. But where I disagree is that I don't think that the people who want Cats to be back do consider the costumes and the like staging and everything to be campy.
What?
I think they consider it to be like the music where they're like, oh no, this is Cats. This is like, it's not Cats unless
this is high art. This is Cats.
I don't know if the people who are going to see Cats consider it high art. I think they just consider it a good time. And I'm speaking as somebody who has seen Cats twice. Sidebar over. Pokemon Go. Got to get some Pokemon news in here.
Oh, yeah.
It's gained a sizable update to include some Generation 2 Pokemon finally.
Hey.
And then they also partnered with Starbucks to turn like the vast majority of Starbucks in the United States into Pokestops and gyms. Is that worldwide? The
I don't-
Starbucks?
The number that I saw was 700. So I don't know. I mean, it seems like that couldn't possibly. Oh, I suppose it could be worldwide, but just not all.
Yeah, that seems like a
inclusive
small fraction.
Right. Like that could just be at Water Village, as far as I know.
Togepi?
Togepi.
Togepi and Pichu can be hatched from eggs now. And there might be some others from the Johto region. Though we'll have to see as players as people hatch eggs and stuff and players discover them, or as it gets data mined.
That's right. The update went live today, so it'll be yesterday for the listener. Monday,
December 12th.
Monday, December 12th. But yeah, they had like an announcement that they were going to make an announcement today. They're rolling it out very, I don't know, strangely. But yeah, we'll see if the one thing that's kind of cool about Pokemon Go is that like they can say like, yeah, a bunch of stuff is coming. Here it is. It's happening now. And then like there's a weird scramble where we figure out what's in the update.
Do you still have Pokemon Go on your phone?
I think so. I haven't started in a while. And now that I have an actual Pokemon game that I can actually play and battle against wild Pokemon and trade and stuff. Not that I've traded in it. Oh boy, digging myself into a hole here. Now that I have a real Pokemon game, I haven't really bothered to play Go.
Yeah, I finally deleted it off my phone just purely because the updates are so huge.
Yeah.
That when it does update, I wasn't. I was gonna check out the top charts. Let's see. It's free.
Oh, to see how it's
top grossing.
how
So
doing.
it's still number 3 in the top grossing.
What are 1 and 2?
In Clash Royale is
Mhm.
number 1, and then Netflix is up there now. And the fact that you can download videos to take with you seems to have spurred that. But Pokemon Go's 3, which is incredibly
Still
respectable.
remarkable, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it has just become it's not a phenomenon anymore. It just continues to operate like a very successful mobile game where the audience is maybe smaller, but it's just like a very dedicated audience.
Right. A new Box Boy game has been announced for Japanese release. The title is Goodbye, Box Boy! And that's with exclamation points after both Goodbye and Box Boy. It's the third game in the 3DS series, and retail releases will come packed with a CD soundtrack and a Box Boy amiibo. No word yet on whether any of that is coming to the West.
No, you're excited for this.
Well, yeah, I like Box Boy and Box Boy. Which is the sequel. It's a very visually simplistic game, just black and white, like simple line drawings. Your character is a little box who can basically self-replicate a couple times, and it's kind of like puzzle platforming.
Wait, it's by HAL Laboratory.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
it's really good.
Are they retail games or are
No,
they?
they're on the virtual console or eShop, depending, I guess, on 3DS. And they're fun. You can I've got the first one on my 3DS. You can give it a shot after we're done recording.
I'm looking at pictures of Box Boy right now, and that would be a very cute amiibo.
It's hilarious.
Or I guess his name is QB.
His name is QB. That's right.
QBBY.
That's right. And so like the amiibo itself is just like a white cube with eyes on an amiibo stand.
That's pretty great.
Like I kind of want it, but I'll hold out and hopefully it comes to the West. There's no, I guess, reason to believe that it will, other than the first 2 games came here. So
Is the soundtrack good?
I don't know that I've ever listened to it.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems interesting that it is including a CD soundtrack.
It seems like they're going all out with this, right? Like, let's push some Box Boy, which is crazy.
Yeah, but I love it because I didn't realize there's a HAL Laboratory game out there that I have not even touched.
Well, Mark, get on it.
Are they long? Are like the games long?
No, not really. I think I got through the first one in, maybe like 3 or 4 hours total. Not getting all of everything or perfect scores on everything, but yeah, it's a fun game. I recommend. Also, it's like $8 or something. So, Also, next news item. That was a horrible transition. Pokken Tournament is adding yet another new character, Empoleon.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's like Napoleon, so like Empoleon.
Sure, Empoleon.
I say that with so much confidence as I just like butchered
right.
the last book. Pichu?
Chogoogaboo. Yeah, so they're getting this ice and steel-based penguin, and he's coming again just to the Japanese arcade edition of the game.
It feels like, I mean, I think we talked about this rumor before that there's like Pokken Tournament for Switch is coming.
It seems like it must be. Why would they keep just updating the Japanese arcade version of this? Like, what would be the point? And I understand being like, okay, we're not going to update the Wii U version because no one bought it. I get that. But then, like, why update anything?
Yeah, like I don't think Pokken Tournament, even in arcades, I must be doing well enough.
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. No
Not
one's played
I.
this game.
If you had to guess, just
Yeah.
ballpark,
Uh-huh.
how many units on the Wii U in the U.S.
In the U.S.?
exclusively? We'll say North America because that's what the NPD tracks.
Sure. Okay, so there are what, 14 million Wii U's?
Worldwide, yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, geez. Has the real question here is, has this thing sold worse than the Virtual Boy?
How much did the Virtual Boy sell?
700,000.
Oh, did Pokken Tournament
Yeah.
in North America? I say hands down, absolutely.
You think fewer than 500,000?
I think possibly fewer than 200,000.
Whoa, that's super low. No one's gonna look it up. So.
Well, I don't even know. I doubt that information is available.
Sure, fair enough.
Yeah. But if you happen to know,
Right, you can always email us at Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com.
So here's like another, just like, this is kind of awesome. There's a new fighting game developed by SNK developers. To be clear, that is former
right.
SNK developers, not like Ultra X SNK developers. They developed a game for the Super Nintendo.
Now, Mark, surely what you mean to say is that it's like a ROM or something.
I do not.
What do you
Surely
mean?
I do not. They've developed.
Then clarify thyself, sir.
They've developed a full new fighting game called Unholy Knight
Mhm.
that is going to be released in February 2007 on a 32 megabit
2017.
2017
Right.
a 32 megabit cartridge,
Which
like
is,
a Super Nintendo
Mhm.
cartridge. I mean, that's an enormous cartridge.
yeah, it's like 5 times the size of a large Super Nintendo cartridge.
But ostensibly, you will be able to, if you are able to acquire one of these, which I assume there will not be many,
right.
you will be able to plug it into a Super Nintendo, Super Famicom.
Mm-hmm. So I've got a Super Nintendo right over there. I hope that's a fantasy, but it would be so much fun to play it. Have you checked out Unholy Knight at all?
I saw some of the screenshots.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's like any videos.
No, I didn't see any video either, but it looks like an SNK version of Darkstalkers.
Oh, that's
the Capcom
interesting.
fighter. Yeah, because they're like werewolves and vampires and vampire hunters and stuff like that. So I don't know. It seems neat, and the art is beautiful. This is exactly that. I mean, come on. That's one of the things that first got me excited, like to really buckle down and like get good at games or fighting games on the Super Nintendo, you know? So the idea that there's a new one?
Yeah, in 2007.
That's right.
Just kidding.
17. Yeah, no, my heart might explode.
What fighters did you play on the Super Nintendo?
What Super Street Fighter or Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo Championship, well, all of them.
Did you own all like?
I owned 3 different Street Fighter 2s, so I guess they would have been why can't I remember what the middle one is? Just vanilla Street Fighter 2 and Super Street Fighter 2. It was either Turbo or Championship Edition. I can't remember which one came with the Genesis and which one came with the Super Nintendo. So those 3, and then every Mortal Kombat game that came to the Super Nintendo, The Clay Fighters, loved Clay Fighters, even though it's not a good game. Probably more. I mean, if it was a Killer Instinct, if it was a Super Nintendo game and a fighting game, like it passed through my library at some point.
What a great gig these fighting games are, where it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna buy like the vanilla edition, but it won't really be good until like the third edition that you're going to just keep buying. I mean, I feel like that's what's happening with like Street Fighter V.
It's what's happening with all games.
Yeah.
Like a game releases and it's not done. Capcom has been doing that for 30 years. Like they're visionaries. So good on them.
This is kind of a weird one. Nintendo has hired hackers to expose points of weakness in the 3DS architecture. Presumably this is to keep the 3DS free of piracy going forward.
Weird, right?
Weird now.
Weird now.
Yeah.
Do you think they've started to see pirated software on the 3DS?
I mean, probably.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems weird to like do this initiative at this point in time on the 3DS lifespan, which...
Do you think maybe Nintendo is just now being made aware of the presence of hackers? I think maybe that's what's happening.
No, I mean, I know they're not the most connected company, but the DS definitely got ripped to shreds by ROM hacks or not ROM hacks, just hacks
Right.
in the DS era. But I don't know, like part of me, the wild conspiracy theory is like that whatever, maybe like some like kernel in the 3DS architecture is something that they are continuing on with.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are using the 3DS as like a guinea pig to see what people
interesting.
can get at. That is based on no information at all.
Right. No, but that's good extrapolation though, because I think our question of why now. I mean, or I guess the other answer is because they are going to be supporting the 3DS for many years. It is still a possibility that they'll keep putting games out on that thing. Of course, they have to make them available to people to buy them going forward. But yeah, it's a weird timing, I think. Konami has filed a trademark for TurboGrafx. It is unknown at this time what this could portend, but the filing is broad and ambiguous. It could mean that Konami is in the market to produce an NES Classic-esque TurboGrafx 16 system, which is the reason that it makes a news item on our Nintendo Focus show. I think that'd be neat if there was a TurboGrafx 16 Classic.
Did you know anybody who owned a TurboGrafx 16?
I did. My buddy Pete, who has written into the show, and he gave us our first debug segment. Yeah, he had a TurboGrafx 16, and I mostly remember playing the Bonk games, Bonk's Adventure. He's like a little caveman with a giant head. Yeah, and some others. I mean, I think it's a system that was mostly missed here in the States, but I think there are cool games to play on it. So, I don't know. It's also a little bit strange to think that Konami would be interested in dipping more into. I mean, first of all, they don't have a hardware manufacturing division, although I guess they make like pachinko machines. The whole thing just raises a lot of question marks. And I think it'd be fun to play one of these.
Yeah, I would actually be interested because I didn't know anybody that owned a TurboGrafx 16, and so that's like an entire series like games that I just have zero familiarity with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I would be interested in picking one up if it was like similarly priced. If that is what they have in store, if it was as well made and similarly priced as a. And do you think they could price it at $60, or do you think that?
I think they would have to put the whole catalog of games.
Yeah,
I think, and there aren't really that many games that came out for the TurboGrafx 16. It's like 48 or 58 or something like that. If they could put them all on, then they could probably charge $60.
But I think it would have to be, for me to even pay that, it would have to be well done, because if it's just like one of the licensed, Genesis machines that you can pick up anywhere,
right?
My interest, like I'm significantly less interested.
Yeah, it's got to be well put together. It would also just be like a fun little like nostalgia from an alternate universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Kind of speaking of which, the Famicom Mini
Yeah.
sold 300,000 units in Japan in November.
In Japan, that's a lot.
I think that probably makes it the best-selling like game hardware
Yeah.
in Japan by a significant amount.
Well, that's exciting. And cool. It's just amazing to me how well these things are doing.
I wonder. I don't know that we'll ever know, but I wonder how many they've sold in the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably get like the NPD numbers, and it'll just say all. They just sold all of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. I still entertain the fantasy of one day importing one of those. I guess better sooner than later, huh?
I mean, I still wonder how long they're going to be manufacturing them.
Yeah.
Because I do think there's going to reach a certain point where there's going to be, probably sometime after Christmas, the desire for it is going to fall off. Like all the hype, and Nintendo clearly does not seem like the kind of company that wants hundreds of thousands of NES Classic Editions just sitting on store shelves.
Right.
So it seems to me at some point they're gonna pull the plug on manufacturing these things.
Yeah. Well, and then the TurboGrafx 16
and then,
Classic can step up and take its place.
Hopefully they'll it doesn't seem like it's going to happen before Christmas, but hopefully there will reach a point where if you want to get one, you have the opportunity to before they're gone forever. Maybe they'll keep manufacturing them forever. It just doesn't seem worthwhile.
Yeah. So you can now make a Charmander at Build-A-Bear.
I think that says it all.
Yeah, it does say it all. Mark, have you ever been to Build-A-Bear?
I have not.
Okay. You've walked past one in the mall, though.
I am familiar with Build-A-Bear. Yes.
I am familiar with the concept.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's not talk about this any further.
Love it. This one I'm excited about.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Nintendo and Universal have announced that their first theme park attraction will be called Super Nintendo World.
What?
And this land will first be opened in time for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And so Universal has a theme park in Osaka, or outside of Osaka. And then, but other attractions will also be coming to Orlando and Los Angeles locations at unspecified times.
That's very exciting. I like theme parks.
I'm a huge theme park fan. And Universal in general, I am not the biggest fan of.
Yeah.
Especially Universal Studios Hollywood is just it's a weird location. It's a weird layout.
Yeah.
Where there's it's not a traditional theme park. Like most theme parks are laid out like Disneyland, where you walk in and it's kind of like a spoke and hub type scenario where it's there's a center of the park.
You've got to really travel within Universal.
Yeah, well, you literally have they have what they call the
what do they call it?
Can't even remember.
The escalator area? Is
Yeah,
that what you're talking about?
yeah. So there's the front area of the park, which now includes Harry Potter World, Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and some other
Thank you for
yeah,
using
you're
its
welcome.
proper name.
You're welcome. And some other random attractions.
There's the Water World stage show, which
There's
is pretty
the Water World stage show. There's the Simpsons area,
Get through Springfield.
But then you have to take, they call it the Starway, but it's a series of 3 or 4 enormous escalators.
Enormous escalators.
That
if
take
you've
you-
never seen these things, I don't know if you can Google it or something.
I'm sure you can.
It's not. It's one of the crazier achievements in the park.
Maybe takes 10 minutes to get
It
from
takes a
top
really
to bottom.
long time, yeah.
And so you go from top of a mountain to literally the bottom of a mountain for a few other random attractions.
And the studio tour.
Or the studio tour is
the
on
lot
another
tour.
series of
right.
escalators on the other side of the park.
That's right.
And so at Universal Studios there are other theme parks in Florida and Japan are more traditional, where it's themed lands. In Hollywood, it's just kind of
Harry Potter
a
World.
shotgun shot.
Right.
And Universal generally is not as polished as Disney. Their Harry Potter stuff is pretty great.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me excited for it seemed for the Super Nintendo world
Yeah.
is because you know that Nintendo will be intimately involved.
Yes.
And it seems like that's when Universal Creative does their best work, is when they have somebody who's like really like guiding them and being like, no, you can't cut corners on this.
Right. No, these details matter.
Yeah.
People are going to freak out if these details are wrong. I mean, I think it's also possible that like that's a new direction for Universal, cuz like Simpsons World and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter are like the two more recent additions to Universal in Hollywood, and they're both really good. Like they're both of high quality, and like my heart almost exploded when I walked into Moe's and ordered a beer, Mark. Like I was actually crying a little bit. But if I can, go into the Mushroom Kingdom and like hop on a Goomba or something.
Yeah, I think the kind of the bummer living in LA is that because of space restrictions,
Yeah.
we won't be able to get the full land. We'll probably just get one or two, like rides.
Right.
And somebody also, and I wish I knew who to attribute this to, dug up some patents for how do normal people say that? I like over enunciated the word patents. Is it patents?
Yeah, I think that's how you say words like that though. Like you say the word button like that.
Right, like button.
Right.
Mountain.
Right.
Patents.
Patents. It's fine.
Patents a bag.
Patent.
For it's not called out in the patents that it is for the Super Mario World, but they had some like ride systems that Universal had patented, and one of them seems like it'd be great for like and people are speculating it's for a Donkey Kong minecart ride, and it has the jumps that from like Donkey Kong Country, and the way they do that is that the car is actually on a track below the like show track, so it'll look like you're jumping or like your car comes off the
that's
track.
So cool.
Yeah, so like, and there's
Minecart Madness is the name of that level.
And there's another one that people are speculating would be great for like a Mario Kart type, and the patent like illustrations has it almost looks like a Formula 1 racer car, but it's on a pivot point at the front, so like the front of it would be anchored and that'd be pulled on the track, and then behind would be steering. Like free. You'd be like freely like swinging back and forth based on like the momentum of the vehicle. So there's a lot of great potential for it to be fun. I can't wait to see what they do.
You want to just pitch some crazy ideas?
Yeah.
Like a Rainbow Road roller coaster.
Yeah. See, that'd be great.
Or like a maze themed like Zelda or Metroid.
That would be
just
cool.
A maze, just a regular maze, walking around in a maze.
Like, what do you do? I wonder if it'll be all Mushroom Kingdom themed, or if it's going to be just like, they're not going to be like, oh, you're walking into Hyrule, and it's just like, here's a bunch of like oversized Nintendo iconography, and that'll just be like, it's like Super Nintendo World. The theme is Nintendo instead of being like, the theme is Mushroom Kingdom, the theme is this.
Right. It's not what it really should be is just a Nintendo theme park, and there's a Zelda
individual
world.
lands.
Right.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But it's as theme park fans, it's an exciting time to be around in Southern California, because Disneyland they're building their enormous Star Wars land.
Yeah.
Oh
man.
That promises to be, I think Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, recently said that because they're also building a very similar one, possibly a duplicate in Florida, that each individual land is going to cost $1 billion.
Whoa.
So, like,
it's crazy to me how much money is in this stuff, especially when we're like, oh yeah, I don't know if Nintendo can make enough NES classics to they're like, oh yeah, but build a theme park, guys. And maybe that's more really being led by like Universal with just like oversight by Nintendo.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But Nintendo, as we've talked about before, is like so protective of their IPs. Like that was the big story when Universal got Harry Potter, was that J.K. Rowling was so protective of it, that Disney wanted more control, and she was like, no. But Universal was like, we'll do whatever you want, basically. And I think she's become less hands-on as she's more comfortable with Universal at this point, and they're like, oh, you're actually going to take care of it. And I imagine it'll be a similar experience with Nintendo, where it sounds like Miyamoto is being he's, especially with Switch development not being hands-on, that it's a lot of younger developers like the Splatoon generation that is leading Switch development, and that he is being more of an overseer and protector of Nintendo products, and has been working on Super Mario Run, which is their first real foray into
it has basically launched at this point.
Yeah. So, and then that he's also working closely with Universal on this project. So really exciting.
Very exciting. Mark, let's get out of the news. And also because we will never have an opportunity to do it again, let's hear this again.
And even it's weird with its weird cutoff at the end. What a grand 10th episode spectacular blooper-o-rama. What is it called?
Bummerama?
Bummerama. It has been.
Yes. And again, if you have spoilers for the M. Night Shyamalan movie Split.
Oh, we're I think 4 weeks away.
We're getting perilously
We're getting very close.
We're only going to be able to ask you for this 3 or 4 more times.
3 or 4 more times.
Also, I don't, just as a matter of cleaning house here, we're not going to miss any episodes here for the holidays, right, Mark?
I'm not planning on it.
Me neither. We plan on being there for you, but really for us.
for everyone.
For you and for all. But this is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society.
January 20th, 2017.
Okay. We need those Split spoilers. Otherwise, Mark's going to have to... There's no universe where you see this movie, is there? If people don't email you spoilers,
why would you do this to me, Patrick?
I think we're getting close to it now, and I haven't seen any emails.
No, I refuse.
Oh, not even for the bit. That's going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember to follow us on Twitter at NinCart Society and check out the Facebook page, which is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you have a second, we would love if you would rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes.
We've been talking about doing some kind of contest.
Right. But all the prizes that we've been talking about giving out are not available in stores.
Right. But just to give you an idea of the scope of what we're thinking, we were considering if we could get a NES Classic Edition, one of the new 3DS, the black and white ones Mario ones that they released for
on
Black Friday. And if we can score one of those in the next few weeks, it's still on the table. But that's in the realm of what we've been, and the way you would.
Well, but hold on though. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is the way you would enter to win these is by rating and reviewing the show on iTunes.
Right. But if people start doing that now,
I
they're
think
considered entered?
Yeah.
All right. You heard it from Mark. Now, if you want to do that as part of a lead into a contest that might happen,
I will guarantee that the contest will happen. What the prize will be, we haven't determined yet.
This feels crummy, Mark.
People just have to trust us.
And while you're reviewing us on good faith, you can also check out other podcasts on the What's Creative Podcast Network. If you like this, you'll like something over there for sure. If you like Mark and mine's opinions about whatever, we also write about comic books on retconpunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo, and our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can find more of 8-Bit Betty's music on 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Eller saying, we hope you have simply a wonderful Christmas time. And thanks for listening.
What's a Creative Podcast Network?